I remember going to the transfer meeting. So, well, we first arrived in Florida, and we went out with the APs, and we did the whole, we all had to place a Book of Mormon, and then, dinner with the mission president and his wife, all that. But then the next day we had our transfer meeting in which we were all assigned our trainers. And I remember that everyone was telling me that I had the best trainer in the whole mission, and I was super excited to go out and work with Elder Ovard. But, and then we drove the 4 hours down to Homestead, because the Fort Lauderdale mission is very long, and Homestead's at the very southern tip of the peninsula. But we go down there and we got right to work. There was no unpacking or anything. I remember our first visit that we went to was with Angela, and it was super awkward because I'm expecting to go out as a missionary and, start teaching people and have fun, but we go out there and the very first person I meet, she's like, I'm just not feeling this whole church thing. I don't want to meet with you guys anymore. So it was like the very first meeting we had, we were dropped. So it's kind of a disappointing, a letdown moment to start off the mission, but then, it just goes up from there. I got back 2 years ago, and back when I was in the mission, it encompassed Lake Okeechobee, which is kind of dead center in the middle. It was straight down and straight over, and then everything below that, including part of the Keys. We had about 250 missionaries. I would say almost half of them were sisters, actually, which is super awesome. I can't remember how many stakes we had there, but once I got home, they actually split and created a new stake, which is super awesome, that we had that much growth in that area. We also had the temple dedicated while I was there, so that was amazing, being able to participate in the cultural celebration and the dedication, taking investigators up there. The wards are very different. They tend to be very small, depending on where you're at, but they're down in Homestead, where I spent most of my time, they were all bilingual. And so you would have Spanish and English people teaching the lessons or giving talks or conducting the meetings, and you would have translation devices if you didn't understand both languages. So that was super interesting, super fun, very different than Utah, They're about wards of 100. So they're a good ward, every calling's filled, but there's definitely room for growth. Since we have Miami in the mission, Miami's the large part of it. It's a huge melting pot of different ethnic backgrounds and cultural histories. There's a lot of Cubans, a lot of Cuban immigrants. We have a lot of Haitian Creoles, Jamaicans, Dominican Republics. Basically every Latin culture is represented there in Miami. And so you can't really pinpoint one specific culture there. But the predominant religion, I would say, is Catholic. There's a whole lot of Catholics. There's also a lot of Jews and Muslims down there as well. But, yeah, it's a lot of fun teaching all the Catholics because, most of them, they're I'm Catholic because my mom was Catholic and I have to be Catholic for my mom, even though she's dead. And so it's very different trying to teach them because they believe it, but they're so tied to their Catholic roots that it's kind of a trick trying to get them to leave their history. We had a hard time getting people to come to church. I think that's a very large trend in that mission is that, a lot of people that are super willing to let you into their home and teach them, and they might even be willing to read the Book of Mormon, but they have a hard time coming to church. Just, the culture down there, they work and they play on Sundays, so they're not used to that, setting aside a day for the Lord. I figure there's lots to do on P-Day, but you have to search for it. We did a lot of nothing on P-Day, just because down in hopes that you don't look for it. But if you look for the fruit stands or, the gift shops, those are the fun things to do. So I served July 2013 to end of January, beginning of February of 2014. And then I went back out in May and came home in June that same year. So I served in Homestead, Florida for the first 7 months. And then I came back home. And then when I went back out, I was in Jupiter, Florida for a little while until I came back home again.